You have to work hard. You have to go out and figure it out. There's always setbacks, there's always hurdles, but that's where the fun is.
Don't waste your energy. The thing is, most of the time gets wasted when you are around people who are toxic towards you.
You want to rely on your own promises and your own capabilities and not be constantly relying on other people.
The first time that you were taking a risk or you were going ahead and you were exploring becoming an entrepreneur, was there a sense of fear that was there?
I absolutely love Boss Talk. It's an honor to share my story, my journey.
When do you see crypto becoming a daily use currency? Hi everyone, I'm Mohsinaa Ahmad. Welcome to Boss Talks. Where transformative conversations meet actionable insights. In each episode, we have conversations on the intersections of modern leadership, exploring how spirituality shapes decision-making, how sustainability drives innovation, how technology transforms business, and how emotional intelligence powers lasting success. Today's guest, Brian J. Esposito, a visionary entrepreneur whose business acumen has reshaped multiple industries across the globe, is here with us today. As the founder and CEO of Esposito Intellectual Enterprises, Brian has built a remarkable global holding company spanning over 25 industries with 110 entities and 200 plus joint ventures across more than 20 international locations. Recognized amongst the world's top 10 CEOs in both 2020 and 2021, Brian brings over 2 decades of high-level executive experience to our conversation. From manufacturing to hospitality, technology to energy, and even space and maritime ventures, Brian's diverse portfolio reflects his unique ability to identify opportunities and connect the right people at precisely the right time. His relationship-driven approach and unwavering commitment to integrity have built him a powerful global network that has contributed to his net worth and continues to drive innovation across sectors. Today in Boss Talks, we will explore Brian's journey, including the challenges that strengthened his leadership and the philosophies that guide his remarkable success. Hi Brian, welcome to Boss Talks. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having me today.
Great. So Brian, you have a diverse portfolio, and what inspired you to become an entrepreneur or even to start in this journey? Because this journey is full of risks. So when was the first time? Please enlighten us.
Absolutely. So as a teenager out there finding ways to earn, I started even mowing lawns in the local neighborhood to build a little landscaping company, hired a bunch of my classmates and friends to help me grow and scale that. And then as a late teenager, went into very heavily loving technology. I was blessed to have a computer in my home in the 90s. So really got wrapped around the excitement around what is a computer, not only the games and some of the programs that you could buy and enjoy, but also creating your own programs. So I taught myself how to code. I launched the first B2B, B2C e-commerce platform for the beauty industry in the late 90s. I launched over 1,200 brands through that journey. And from there, I got to build incredible relationships from actors and actresses, musicians, and influencers, celebrities, helping them build and grow their brands, and launched my distribution and e-commerce platform, and also learned how to diversify my holdings and how to make sure I controlled as much of the pie as possible and not just make other people wealthy and have no attachment to the upside on their brands or companies. I learned how to make sure that I had attachment to the upside of anything that I was involved with.
Great. So tell me one brand which you have really made famous, through your insights and your thought process, and it has grown multifold.
It would be the public company I took over in August of 2023. It's a US-based public company out of Salt Lake City, Utah. It's been around since 1954, known as Diamond Lake Minerals, and the ticker symbol is DLMI. When I took over as CEO of DLMI, again in August of 2023, there was about $1 million US dollar market cap. Since my tenure and leading that company forward, we hit a high of over 450 million in market cap, and which is amazing. And people have said, how did you do that so quickly? We did it within a span of 15 months. And I kind of laugh and chuckle. No, it's 20 plus years of working and building relationships and nurturing relationships and finding the right opportunities building really great strategic partnerships that add value for all parties. So when I took over this company and redesigned the strategy, what we're building there, we're the first blockchain, crypto, digital asset company. It's also a public company in our business model. And because I very rarely went to people in my history and had an ask, so I had an arsenal of favors out in the world to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm building, would love for you to be part of it, would love for you to work with us and create value together. And everybody said absolutely. So, long story long, when you're doing good for people and providing value and you're consistent and you're ethical and your integrity as a business person or an entrepreneur, and you do have an ask, which was very hard for me because I'm not one to go and ask people for help, you'll be very pleased to see who would return the favor for all the great work and dedication that you've given them throughout your professional career. So that's definitely the most prominent one. There's so many other great companies in my private holdings that have done exceptional, but it's you have to work hard. You have to go out and figure it out. There's always setbacks, there's always hurdles, but that's where the fun is overcoming them and seeing strengths that you didn't know you had, and understanding those challenges make you a seasoned professional or a seasoned CEO. The more of them you go through and the more hardships you go through, the more prepared you are to properly lead a company.
So, Brian, please tell me, you started really young. The first time that you were taking a risk or you were going ahead and you were exploring, becoming an entrepreneur, was there a sense of fear that was there, when you started up? Or were you inspired and you saw someone's journey and you were really inspired and you thought that, okay, fine, if he can do it, I can do it too?
Yeah, that's actually my MO now. If I can do it, anybody can do it, because I didn't have the resources, support, or the network to really help me achieve what I've achieved. That's why I love working with startups and entrepreneurs. I love being the resource and support system that I know they need because I didn't have it. As far as somebody that I admired in the business world, really no. I always admired like the Henry Fords of the world and what they've done. Obviously, I didn't know him or have a relationship with him, but from that type of leader and having filing for bankruptcy and failing and overcoming that, seeing people like that inspire me to really push forward. My company motto has been time. It always is, time is our most precious commodity. So I'm the youngest of four, being 10 to 13 years apart from my siblings. I got to see grandparents die at an early age for me, and aunts and uncles. I was surrounded by so much death because I was born so much later. I realized life is short. And we think we have one go at this life. Maybe we get reincarnated into something else, depending upon your beliefs. But having that mentality really gave me the motivation to go after accomplishing something, and not necessarily money motivated. I don't think about money as a success. I think about, hey, I want to go and create and build something. I want to be able to employ and build a team around that. How do I go and do it? So, for probably 15, 16 years of my life, it was building those relationships to do it efficiently and effectively. Now, the fun part is if we want to come up with something, we have the right teams, the right access, the right network to go from concept to design to implementation really seamlessly. So that's been my journey. I've hit every hurdle and setback you can think of. I've definitely made myself physically sick during this journey because as an entrepreneur, you worry constantly. You're usually last to eat. There's just so many unknowns. And a lot of us rely on other people's promises, which you want to get out of that path as quickly as possible. You want to rely on your own promises and your own capabilities, and not be constantly relying on other people saying they're going to pay you, or other people saying they're going to give you a contract, or other people saying they're going to order your products. You want to get in a more place of strength where you're the one dictating those moves. So that's a hard place to be for an entrepreneur. But when you make that flip, it's a wonderful life you can build for yourself.
That's absolutely rightly put. Okay, so I'll ask you here, what was your first biggest failure and what was your biggest learning from it?
The hardest issue I went through was a drunk driver hit me in a car accident in 2016 in Nashville, Tennessee, USA. So I had about 30 or so companies in my holdings at that time. My model, which I thought was great, was completely wrong because after that accident, there was about a year of me not able to really function at my 100% capabilities. And I was relying on people that were around me for many years to pick up the slack. They were the wrong people around me. My model was completely wrong. So I went millions into debt. after 2016, but that was a very dark period for me. I quickly was very disappointed in humanity. I was disappointed in the people that were around me. I was disappointed in everything. And I was disappointed in myself because I was the one that built this, right? So it was wrong. But I knew not to get bitter or angry because my value is building relationships. My value is creating great connections with people. So if I hated people because of what I went through, I knew I couldn't recover. So I'm grateful that I was smart enough not to get bitter or jaded. And I quickly became grateful for that woman hitting me because she could have killed somebody. So I'll take that hit. More importantly, my little mini empire was wrong. So it needed to be completely destroyed. And I needed to rebuild it with a much stronger foundation, the right people around me, the right legal, compliance, accounting, the right other professionals around me. And I needed to rebuild it where it was a seamless place of value. What is my value? And something that could operate with or without me. So that was from 2017 until relatively recently. I created and perfected this brand new model that I love. I love all the people that are around me. I love all the companies that I get to work with. And I love the fact that I can tell people no. I turn down more business and opportunities than I take because the most important thing is I need to be surrounded by people with good ethics, integrity, morals, and values. I need to be surrounded by people that have empathy for other people. And I refuse to be led by how much money can we make above what good work can we do together. The money is a byproduct. That's not my North Star or my God.
Brian, what is it that you follow in terms of, inner connect, and what the decisions that you have taken, the risks that you have taken? How much is it logical, and how much is it, that intuitive sense?
I have to always go with my intuition. I think a lot of people listening don't listen to that gut feeling more than not, and then they find out later, oh, I should have listened. That didn't feel right. And a lot of that is your confidence. The more successes that you have and the more wins that you have, the more confident that you feel. So when your gut's saying this person doesn't feel right or this situation doesn't feel right, if you don't have confidence in yourself, you're going to go through the motions of that and you're going to find out that you put your hand on the stove and you got burned. So I love now that within a millisecond, if I feel something's wrong, I don't question it. I just go with it and I say politely, I'm leaving this conversation, I'm leaving this room, and I'm grateful that because of all the past people that I've met that ran me through hell, I have the ability to sense these things out, and I can sense it from a mile away now. A lot of my career was very good at problem solving. I got invited into great rooms because my name got out in the world that, hey, you got to call Brian. He thinks differently. He thinks very cleverly. He can get you out of the situation. And that was great. So problem solving was too much of my career, but grateful that I had it. Now it's preventing the problem in the first place. And that's where you get to a point where after you've learned so many things about people's characteristics, certain situations, what's real, what's not real, having certain processes in your system to identify if something's real or not, or vetting a situation. So you can have a much calmer life if you know how to prevent problems from happening in the first place. And if you can cleverly remove toxic, negative, dangerous people from your inner circle, then anything's possible. Once you get that energy vampire suckers out of your life, the days are much brighter and your capabilities are much more realistic.
That's so true. And you don't waste your energy. The thing is, most of the time gets wasted when you are around people like, who are toxic towards you. So amazing thought there. Can you please tell me that you have built a huge network and often talk about importance of integrity and the right people. What qualities do you value most in terms of your friendships, in terms of your business relationships, and the people you work with?
Like I mentioned before, it's always integrity, morals, values. I need to see that. I need to see you being kind to a waiter or waitress. I need to see you treating a human being with compassion, regardless of what they may or may not have in the bank. And so many people are just looking at what they can get from somebody. So when I see that, no, I'm not interested. Or if I see somebody flashing their fancy watch or telling me about their fancy vacations, I go deaf. I don't care. To me, that person is dangerous because they're only concerned about material materialistic things. And that means they need money, and they need more money to maintain more materialistic things. So that means you'll put me in harm's way to accomplish your motivator, which is money and greed and ego and pride. So we all have certain levels of these. I try to park my ego and pride as low as possible, but I just need to see good, decent people with, again, empathy. That's such a key characteristic in people. If you have a good heart and you care about your fellow person, then I know you're decent. Then I know if we have a problem, we can resolve it like two rational human beings. But if you're lost or a lost soul or someone that's just floating around trying to take advantage of people, then I know you don't have any foundation for me to properly either build a relationship that's genuine or, more importantly, resolve any conflict that may arise between us working together.
Great. So that's amazing. So what is your approach to risk taking, and especially in this fast changing world, like, when we talk about digital as well as globally, we are getting connected, we are getting too close to each other. So how are you seeing innovation and investments in this scenario?
My whole model has been adapt or die. Since I think being involved in technology at a young age, I taught and trained myself that you got to constantly be evolving and innovating. So it's hard for older generations to do that, which is why I think a lot of companies miss great opportunities, because their leadership don't understand new technology advancements, new initiatives, new things like crypto and blockchain. Most even 40, 50, 60 plus, they don't understand that. So if you don't understand that, that's okay, but you have to be smart enough to hire people to focus on those things so you can properly adapt those new innovations or technology advancements into your company, into your business model. So it really depends on who you ask. I think I can explain things cross generation very easily for people to understand it. I don't get too deep in the technology side of it. I talk about, you need this because this is a market that's demanding it. This is the evolution of, for example, with crypto, how I saw it was not, crypto and meme tokens and ICOs and raising money. I saw it as the evolution of financial transactions. Way back when, the convenience, but also just understanding that way back when it was trade and barter, then there was cash, then there was credit cards, then there was wires and checks, and it just evolved. So it would be foolish for me to think it would be foolish to think that it just stops here. There's no continued evolution. So that's how I looked at it. And I said, okay, we need to build these things into our company and future companies. So very early on in doing that and understanding it's just the evolution of transaction. It's the evolution of I own something, you own something, immutable ledger that we can confirm that we're doing a transaction and point to it. I get paid or you get paid, and it's done. So, but explaining that to a CEO where you're trying to sell a product to, you need to understand their age. You need to understand what they know, what they don't know, what they're intimidated by, and where they go tone deaf, right? They don't want to hear anymore because you lost them. So that's why it was very difficult up until recently for huge companies that should be adapting these things. It took them way too long to adapt. So now they're spending millions or billions to try to beat all these smaller companies that came out of nowhere that were way ahead of them. So innovation is crucial to every industry. There's some staples that are consistent that'll always be used, but you need to adapt or die, and that's the risk that you have to take. Otherwise, you're going to lose market share, the value of your company is going to diminish, and you're going to probably lose great team members and employees if you're not creating an exciting, moving forward energy where they know there's a future.
So when do you see crypto becoming a daily use currency?
It's getting there. When it's built into things like PayPal and Venmo and other financial transactions, so it's getting there. For it to hit the masses, it just has to it just has to happen seamlessly without you even knowing. So we're getting there. There's digital wallets that are now created on your phone without you even realizing it. So that's the next step. And then there's things like NFTs that had a great run, but I think they'll get repurposed and reutilized correctly going forward for things like live venues or concerts or sporting venues. So it's the Wild West for a lot of these things, but they're going to have some really good value and really smart implementation into our daily lives that hopefully at the end of the day create value for us as the user. I think where it's going to get fun with tokens and things like security tokens or NFTs is if you're shopping in a store, let's just say Macy's, for example, and maybe you own Macy's stock, the checkout person doesn't know you own Macy's stock. They only know that you're a Macy's Insider Rewards and maybe you get 10% off. But now, because of blockchain and tokenization, you can convert your Macy's stock into a security token in the future. You can have an NFT that sits in your digital wallet. So now if you go to checkout, it should unlock even more rewards for you as not only a Macy's Insider Rewards, but also a Macy's stock holder, a Macy's NFT holder. So the value proposition should always support the consumer, and hopefully all of these things is moving towards that accomplishment.
Great, Brian. Great talk here, and thank you so much for your time.
I absolutely love Boss Talks, and thank you guys for the opportunity. It's an honor to share my story and my journey, the great companies that I get to work with. So the value that you bring to future entrepreneurs is so important, because they can hopefully take little bits of value and insight from people like me that have been to hell and back multiple times. The journey's very important. Learning experiences are very important, but if you can save some of that turmoil and trauma and nervousness by learning from others, it's really genuine and a great opportunity. And you should always reach out to people for help. Reach out to people like me if you think that you connect with them, you have a question to ask them, or if you think they can help. Don't be shy. I think asking for help or asking a question comes from a place of strength.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you very much.